You've got a hand in that. You decide what those soldiers are going to look at the world, or how they're going to look at the world on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of other things can impact that, but leadership is going to make the difference in many cases. Morale, big deal. Even when things are really bad, you can have morale. Proficiency. Remember, I told you to be expert at your craft, but soldier proficiency. You know, soldiers do well with the boss checks, or don't inspect, or don't expect what you don't inspect. What those two little sayings mean is, if you aren't checking on it, soldiers may not do it. And it's not because they're mean or they got up this morning, they brushed their teeth and said, well, let me see what I can get away with. Nobody does that. Nobody got up this morning and was looking in the mirror and said, well, let me go see what I can make go wrong today. Sometimes it just happens. Not everybody's as good as you're going to be. But that proficiency only comes with training, maintaining standards, and continually trying to strive for the best. Esprit, being proud. I saw too many times units that got into Iraq that started wearing somebody else's patch because it looked cooler than theirs. If you are in a unit that's got an organizational shoulder sleeve insignia, that is the best unit in the Army. That flag that walks at the head of your formation should be the straightest, proudest flag in the Army. I have had a couple of assignments in my time, and I've never had a bad one. Every unit that I was in was the best unit in the Army. If you didn't believe me, you should have asked me. And I mean it. If you are in a unit that's not a good unit, you're the leader. Change it. And leaders start at corporal. They start at second lieutenant. You don't have to be a general or sergeant major to be a leader. You can impact your world from right where you sit. And sometimes through your example, the people on your left and right are going to get better through osmosis. You're going to drag them along, but make it happen. And discipline. Discipline, like morale, is your responsibility. Soldiers will respond to leadership. If you set and maintain high standards and you don't accept second best, you're going to have fewer disciplinary problems in organizations and have difficulty maintaining standards. Because once you start to negotiate standards and discipline, the rest of it starts falling apart pretty quickly. George Patton, you might have heard of him, General George Patton, said that in war there's only one kind of discipline, perfect discipline. Without it, you are potential murderers. Do those words mean anything to you if you think about some of the headlines we've had in the last few years? When soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines start wavering on discipline, they have potential to be murderers given the right conditions. Keep them on track, keep focused on that discipline. Teamwork. You hear a lot about that. You've exercised some of it. But teamwork, once you get commissioned and you get where you're going, is going to be like nothing you've ever done before. You're going to find new challenges, things you didn't think you were capable of doing, and now you're the leader, and you got that little twinge of self-doubt. You better dismiss it, because your soldiers are going to be looking at you when it gets cold, when it gets wet, when they get hungry, when they get tired. When somebody gets hurt, they're going to look at you for what you're going to do. It's how you have built that team over time that's going to make a difference when times get hard and when things get tough. Anybody can be a sunshine leader. Go outside and hold the formation for me right now. Too easy. But let me march you around for about 50 miles with a 100-pound rucksack on, and a few of you get wounded. And now let's see how quick we can get organized. When things get hard, that leadership is going to shine, and that's where we're counting on you. You have to be a continuous example. You can't have a bad day. You can't have a day off. You've got to be there all the time because soldiers are watching you all the time. Imagine running into me somewhere tomorrow morning and I haven't shaved. What happens to your opinion of me at that instant? Well, you see me walking around with blue jeans, my That stuff was great when you were a teenager, but your world's going to change when you stick your hand up and take that oath. Don't wait for that day, because you'll be a little bit behind. Start now. And be that continual example. Lead from the front. You don't have to be the fastest one in the platoon. Your platoon sergeant will be. Don't worry. And it'll take you a while to get over that little bit of hurt. Because your platoon sergeant's out there leading that platoon right now. But be the continual example, lead from the front. What I mean by that is try and set the example, be there, demonstrate what right looks like, and don't take second best. Try your best at everything you do. Be there for your soldiers, with your soldiers. Know your soldiers. You know, one of those old leadership tenets is know your organization, deploy it in accordance with its capabilities. There's a lot of other things out there. Don't confuse ambition with ability. Know what you're capable of doing and get after it. Know what the art of possible is and get after it. That's far different from what General Sullivan was talking about, hope not being a method. Well, I hope it works out. That dog is not going to hunt. Hope isn't going to get you there. Having a plan, aggressively executing it, that's what's going to get you there. So know your soldiers and use them and employ them in accordance with their capabilities. And we were talking this morning about, you know, the being out with soldiers and leading and so forth, and you're only going to be as good as the last soldier. You're only going to be as fast as the last soldier, and it's about a team. Nothing pains me more than to watch a platoon running down the road doing PT, and the drill is, let's see how many people we can make fall out. That is not teamwork. There's times for ability group runs. There's times to show who the fastest one in the platoon is. But when you're out there doing physical training and you're doing foot marches and you're doing other kinds of training events, it's about teamwork. It's about sharing that load and helping people get to the end. Because what if that last soldier, the one that you said caused the drop out first, what if that's your ammo bearer? What if that's your radio operator? What if that's your medic? You really want to leave him behind? What you do in war is exactly what you've done in training. You aren't going to change. There is no magic switch that says, okay, it's game on now, we're at war, we're all going to do things different. You will fall back to your training, and if your training has been about teamwork and about inclusion and about taking care of soldiers and getting the job done, then guess what's going to happen when it really matters? You're going to take care of it and you're going to get the job done. Counseling is going to become an immediate part of your job the day you get commissioned. That's a pretty tough challenge. Not many people are good counselors. It takes a lot to look deep into somebody's soul and say, you know, we've talked and talked and talked, and what you have been doing is not the standard. You need to do the following things to improve. Or, wow, that is really great. You've been doing some tremendous things. Here's some other things I want you to do and try and learn and so forth to make you better. Because too many times counseling takes on a negative connotation. You know, hey, you got to go see the dean to get counsel. What do you immediately think? What did I get an F? You know, was I out of formation? Did I get out of step? Why is that? You should look forward to counseling because it's professional growth and development. There's a lot of reasons to counsel. Your platoon sergeant's going to counsel you when you get in. That's a good thing, because what they're going to do is tell you about the unit, tell you about the soldiers, tell you about the mission, tell you about their expectations. They're going to expect that you've got some expectations. Don't go in cold, but it's a mutual kind of thing. And it should be, it needs to be, because if it's a one-sided conversation, then it really is nothing in the form of counseling. That's a directive session. There's times for that. But for the most part, you know, you control the counseling, and I'm not going to give you the class here, but if it's not a two-way conversation, there's not an opportunity for feedback, then you really got to be careful of that road you're going down, because soldiers may not understand what you're trying to get to. And it really isn't going to be about growth and development.